Okay, so I just wanted to do a little review of the new Ridgid 18 volt cordless miter saw. It uses a 7 1/4 inch blade. Um, Operates on their standard 18 volt packs. Right now I have a 4 amp hour battery on there. The kit comes with a 5 amp hour battery. But I've been using the 4 just to compare it because I have the DeWalt 7 1/4 inch cordless miter saw as well, and I want to compare the two. I'll probably put up a video comparing the two in greater detail in a little bit. I just wanted to get this quick review. I haven't seen any reviews of this yet. The only article I seen on it was on Tool Guide. Definitely on paper looks to be a little better than the DeWalt, being that it's dual bevel, 45 degrees, and it's also brushless, where the DeWalt's just brushed, and single bevel. So I mean, this is kind of what you get in the kit. You also get, like I said, the 5 amp hour battery, and you get one of their quick chargers. Same charger you get with the Gen 5X kit, because I already have one from the Gen 5X kit. The tools in the Gen 5X kit I have no complaints about. They've all held up. And then, as you know, Ridgid has the lifetime service agreement. I've never had to use it yet, but I guess, from what I've heard, it seems like it's hit or miss. But I guess it's something. It's a lifetime warranty, parts and labor. I don't know how reliable it is, but it's there. So I guess to just go over a couple features of this saw. As I mentioned, it's double bevel. So to release it, there's a little knob over here. Pull that, and you get your up and down chop saw motion. I have the slide locked on it. There's another adjustment for that. You release that, and it slides. One of the things I noticed immediately is that the slide is definitely not as smooth or fluid as the DeWalt. Not that it's hard, it's just, I don't know, it just doesn't feel 100% smooth, where the DeWalt is, very smooth. And not that it's going to cause any problems, it's just something that I noticed right off the bat as soon as I went to use the saw. To use the beveling, there's a lock here. You release that, and there's also an adjustment knob on the back that you can use to lock it down to any angles between 0 and 45. I have it loosened right now, so I can move it. So first you gotta remove this. So you can move 45 degrees that way, or 45 degrees that way. And when you're going 45 degrees to the right, because the motor's over here, this has a sliding fence on the right side. You just gotta move that to the right, and there's still a little bit of binding on it. So you can't quite do 45 without removing the fence completely. So they do make it easy for you, though. They have a tool right here. There's a blade changing tool, as well as the Phillips screw to remove the fence. So there's a little thumb adjustable screw that lets you loosen and tighten and move the fence back and forth, but there's a set screw that only lets you move it back so far. So you have to remove that to be able to do the full 45. Actually, it looks like if you have it all the way, I must not have it all the way. If you have it all the way, you can do a 45 miter to the right. The only thing is, if you probably have the going this way, you can actually do it that way too. Okay, so comes with a dust bag, you know, as they typically are. They're not the best at collecting all the dust. It's got, you know, typical, I think it's 1.5 inch dust extraction port. Probably works a little better than just using the dust bag. Here's the dust bag that comes with it. Just slides right over there. You know, the chop motion, very smooth. Got no complaints about that. Another thing it has over the DeWalt is it has a depth sub, which the DeWalt does not have. So you just you set your depth with this little screw, and you slide this out, and that provides your depth sub. You can disable the depth sub just by sliding it back in, so it's adjustable. It's got the handles like the DeWalt. You know, it's a fairly light unit. It's approximately, I would say, close to the same weight, or you know, maybe a little heavier. But the one thing I do notice looking at this is that this surface is not as well finished off as the DeWalt. Not that that's a problem, doesn't affect functionality at all, but just something that I noticed. This also can miter to 45 one direction, and actually looks like 48 this direction and 48 that direction. And it's got positive stop detents. So you just hold this button and this releases, lets you go past the detents. When you let it go, it'll click into the closest detent. And you can also set it to an odd angle just by when you get to wherever you want it to be. You get to wherever you want it to be, you just find it like 22.5 right here. That's a detent, but if you go maybe to 20 degrees, you can lock down just by pulling that down, and now it's not going to turn. In addition, I don't know if you can hear that, but that doesn't sound like it really is very smooth, to be honest with you. Sounds like something's dragging a little bit. I mean, you can still turn it, but obviously it doesn't sound like the greatest of qualities. I mean, this unit just came out, so I don't know if maybe this is an early production unit or what, but like I said, the slider isn't the smoothest. This doesn't seem super smooth. Actually, it seems rather rough. Almost like something's dragging. I don't see anything in there, but okay. So let's get to, I guess we cut a few things and see the performance of it. Now this is kind of where I thought that the saw would really show its worth over the DeWalt. Being that it's brushless, I thought it would have more power. And my experience with it does. I mean, I cut a 2x6 pressure treated that had some embedded screws in it, and it went right through it. I've just been using this standard Ridgid blade. It's probably not the best blade. Thought about upgrading to a Diablo, but I usually won't upgrade the saw blade until this one's worn out. Unless I'm doing a specific job and I need finer tooth blade or something like that. I don't really see the benefit in upgrading the blade right away. Not that it won't give you some performance increase, I just don't think it's enough to justify the price of a brand new blade. So we'll do a cut on this 2x6 that I have right here. I'm going to use this to hold the piece so it just slides in there and kind of friction fits till it gets tight, and then you just screw this down and that kind of holds it down in position. So another feature this thing has is it has the cut line. Works pretty good. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but it's definitely a clear line. I mean, I'm not in direct sunlight, I'm in my garage. I have some just fluorescent lights overhead, but there's no problem seeing it here. So let's do a quick cut. I'll do a slow cut first, and then a fast cut just to show you the power. So here we go. So I went through that pretty easily, no real trouble, and then I'll do a quick cut, just plunge it down real quick, and then we'll see how it handles that. All right, I'll just do it real quick. So I was actually able to stall it there. Haven't done that before, so I guess there is some limits to it, but. So I mean, you know, it is still an 18-volt tool. There's gonna be some limitations to it, but you know, I mean, as far as portability and the work you can do with this without a cord and the convenience of it, I mean, I'm at a point where I don't do work where I need to have a power cord with me all the time. It's just so much more convenient to not have a cord. You just bring the tool wherever you're going, and you don't have to worry about extension cords. You don't have to worry about a generator. You just set it up, pop your battery in, and you go. I mean, if you have a couple batteries, you're good to work all day for one person's work. You could, you know, you have 2 batteries, you can pretty much do whatever you want with whatever tools you're using. I mean, there's certain tools that use a lot more power than others. I found that the vacuum cleaners, I have a Milwaukee vacuum, M18 vacuum, and that thing eats batteries pretty quickly. I mean, you only get about 20 to 30 minutes on a 5 amp hour battery. But really besides that, I mean, most tools, they're so good now with the brushless motors and the high amp hour lithium packs that there's really no reason to go corded, in my opinion. I mean, so here's just a quick, you know, do a quick tour around the unit. I mean, you can see it's just pretty much your standard cordless miter saw. Nothing really too crazy about it. These are your adjustments for your miter angle. Standard up down. You got your little button here to activate the cut light. On the trigger there's just a little safety latch you push, then you can pull this in. You can't pull the trigger in if you don't hit that. A little safety feature. On top of the unit, this is how you lock it from chopping, and then here's your adjustment knob for the slide. So once you have that locked down, you can use this handle. It's pretty light. You don't have to be Hercules to pick this thing up. Some of those big corded units, you know, are really unwieldy to move around if you got to move them, you know, around tight staircases and stuff like that. So another thing that I noticed it's a little different or interesting is that this motor is actually kind of mounted on a 45-degree angle, or you know, it's just not 90 degrees to the blade, whereas the DeWalt is 90 degrees to the blade. I'm guessing they did that for 2 reasons. Probably one's for gearing. They could probably get more torque out of it, and the other is for this miter angle. If I unlock the miter, you can see that having the motor be able to be on that angle when you're at the 45, that motor's you know, parallel to the work surface of the saw. So if that was 90 degrees, it'd be hitting the surface of the saw. So I guess that was kind of like their, you know, one of their design difference is from the DeWalt. I think having the double bevel is, to me, it's really useful, really important. Just because it makes making complex cuts for crown molding, or anything you need to make a difficult cut, it makes it easier to figure out the angles you gotta cut at. So this is the sliding fence. Just slides in and out. Like I said, it just slides out so you can make that right 45 bevel. Here's the adjustment knob on the back here. This just tightens it down so the fence doesn't slide. That's just for being able to miter to the right 45. Slide it back in. I guess it'll also be helpful if you have a long piece and you need some stability over on this side. But you can lock it down, and then the set screw is right next to that. You just remove that with a standard Phillips, and then you can pull this all the way out if you needed to. So just slide it in. Then around to the back, you can see here's the fastener for the bevel, so you can lock it down to an odd angle or whatever angle you want. When you're at straight 90, all you have to do is set this little, I don't know if you can see this, come over here, but you just set this little pin, push it in, and that locks it at 90. When you pull it out, you can move it back and forth. Once you loosen this, now it can move 45 this way, 45 that way. There is no positive stop at 90, so you got to get it approximately, and then you just lock it down with that little set. It's like kind of like a latch type thing, and they use them for the chop function up here. This one right here, this lets you set the chop. And then this right here is for the slide. So I mean, basically, for $400 is what you get. I'd say it's a decent value. I don't know how it's going to hold up over the long term. Like I said, that slider isn't the smoothest, and setting those miter angles is actually not smooth at all. It's actually kind of disappointing. I don't know if it's just the unit I got. If you guys have one, I guess send a comment. Let me see how yours operates. Maybe it's just the unit I have, but yeah. So this has just been a first look at this. I know I was interested when I saw the article about it. I think, like I said, brushless is the way to go. I'm probably going to be selling the DeWalt, depending on how this miter works out. I mean, if it's going to be like that, I don't know if I want to keep this thing. I might return it. That's not exactly quality for $400. Not the cheapest tool. It's not super expensive, but it's still $400 nonetheless. And in my opinion, the 7 1/4 cordlesses are the way to go. Just because if you're having a cordless tool, what you really want is portability, and these are small and light. Milwaukee's coming out with the 10-inch cordless, and DeWalt's coming out with the 120, 12-inch 120 volt flex volt, 12-inch cordless miter, and that thing just is huge. It's probably still decently light, but in my opinion, if you're going cordless, go compact, and then just have a nice electric 12-inch, and then you can cover all your bases. So if you're doing something where you need portability, you got the cordless, and then you got a big, powerful 12-inch that you can cut anything with. So, all right, so this has just been a first look. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. And like I said, I'm going to try to get a comparison video of the DeWalt and this Ridgid with some side-by-sides. All right, thanks for watching.